Hey there, it's Laura with Mom Envy, and today we're going to be creating our Santa tracker ornament. The very first thing you need to do is to download the free files from my website. So go ahead and do that, and just make sure you pay close attention to where you save it to. Okay, the very next step is you need to insert your file. On the left-hand side, you're going to click the image button. Then you're going to navigate to wherever you save the file, and I'm going to use the SVG file. By the time that this is done, you will actually also be able to use the xTool Creative Space file because that will be uploaded as well. So you're going to select the one that you'd like and then click Open. Then it's going to load the design into the file, and I know it's going to look pretty weird at first, but don't worry, we'll take care of that now. So we're going to navigate to the bottom left-hand side. We're going to click on the black layer 2, and we're going to switch that to engrave, so now you can see what the design will actually look like. Then we will click on the red layers, and we're going to change that to cut. Now we're not going to adjust our settings yet, because what we're going to do first is we're going to load the material into the machine, and then we will come back and actually measure and get our settings correct. So I've gotten my piece of 3mm basswood onto my honeycomb in my xTool P2. And I'm using these clips just to make sure that they are nice and secure on the honeycomb. If you don't have the honeycomb, that's okay. You can just use the rails that came with the machine. But since I have the honeycomb, that's what I'm going to be using. Okay, now we're back in the software, and we are going to make sure that we refresh our screen to make sure that we have the latest image capture. So now we need to do our settings. So you're going to want to make sure you click off the design, and then on the right-hand side, you're going to pick your settings. I am going to be doing 3mm basswood, but if you're using a different material, make sure that you make the settings match your material. So I'm going to move my design just a little bit further over onto the wood, and then over on the right-hand side, I'm going to measure the thickness still, just to make sure that it is correct. So I'm going to click this over here, and then I'm going to click just about where the center of my item is. So I'm going to click right here in the center. And once I click that, it's going to go ahead and the machine will measure the distance, which will make sure that it engraves properly. Once it is done measuring and adjusting it, we just want to make sure you move your ornament just slightly. Now, I will tell you that I totally forgot to change the size of my ornament, so this is where you're going to want to size it to the correct size that you would like. And so I have it at 4.5 inches, but I find that 3 inches or even 2.5 inches is a little better. So now I'm going to go ahead and change my cut settings. I'm going to click on this red layer 1 to change the settings for what I'll be cutting. And I'm going to just use the xTool reference because that's been working for me with the basswood. It's a power of 100, a speed of 30, and a pass of 1. And I've had really great luck so far with it cutting at those settings. Now I'm going to click my black layer, which is my engraving layer. It's layer 2 over here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to change it to the reference material as well. Only this time I actually prefer my power to be a little bit more than what the reference material was when I did the test. So I'm going to up the power percent from 10% up to 15%. Then my speed is going to be at 200, and I'm going to have 1 pass and 100 lines per centimeters. Again though, if you're using a different type of material or a different machine, you're going to need to make sure your settings are correct for whatever it is you are using. Now, believe it or not, that is all we actually have to do to get this file ready to cut and engrave. It's what I love about ornaments is that they're actually just such an easy thing even for beginners to be using if you're just starting out with a laser. So now we're going to go ahead and get this processed. To do that, we're going to click the green process button on the right-hand side. On the next screen, it will load a preview of what we'll be cutting and what we'll be engraving. So that way you can see and make sure that everything looks good before you begin. Once you're ready to go, in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to be clicking the green start button. Okay, now it's going to go ahead and process. Now, before it begins, you're going to actually have to press the button on your machine, so don't forget to do that. I'm not going to show you the entire process of cutting and engraving because then we'd be here all day watching that, but I'm going to show you a little bit, or at least I'm going to speed up the process so that way you can see the final look. All right, so we are ready with our lid is closed, and I'm going to go ahead and push my blue button to get it going. Okay, so it's done cutting and engraving. I actually I don't know what I was thinking and did not realize how big the 4.5 was going to be. So obviously I sized it down for a 3 inch. And I did check out the scan and it works, and I do need to still clean this up because I didn't have any masking on hand, so I went ahead and decided just to go without it. But even without it, it still looks really good coming straight out of the machine. And this is what the ornament looks like when I take it out of the machine. Believe it or not, one of the best and easiest ways to clean up wood after it has been lasered is to just use a baby wipe. And I just wipe it over the whole thing and then let it dry. And it actually does a really nice job of making sure that it cleans up all of that burn mark. The next step is to add some sort of ribbon. And honestly, it is incredibly easy to do, and there's so many different ways to do it, but this is just a really quick option that you can do. Okay, so this is how you're going to easily put on a ribbon onto your finished ornament. So you're just going to take a piece of ribbon, and I'm going to fold it in half this way, and then I'm going to fold it in half this way just to give myself a finer point. I'm going to slip this through the hole. I'm going to very gently just pull it a little bit out, enough so that I have a loop. And I'm going to take my two tails and I'm going to fish them through the loop. And then I'm just going to gently pull them through. And it just creates a really nice little loop that makes it really easy to hang onto the tree. And then it's up to you how you want to do it, but I'm just going to take this and then I'm just going to tie a little bow. And that's it.